everybody. Welcome to this Member Spotlight. I am here with my friend Josh Gibbons at Greenwood Park Church of Christ, and I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. I know that we are going to be having our monthly meeting here next week, and we wanted to spend some time with you this evening and ask you some questions so that we can all get to know you better. So first of all, I would like you to tell us just a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in worship ministry.
Like you said, my name is Josh Gibbons. I'm the worship minister at Greenwood Park Church of Christ. I guess I have to go back a little ways for when I started worship ministry, because I never, I didn't sing growing up. I was in band, I played an instrument, but I never really did any vocals. When I was in my youth group in high school, actually, my youth minister I don't know where he knew, just kind of called me up one day and asked me to lead singing for the youth class. So that's probably the first time that I'd ever led singing. And then I went on and I did that for, a while. And then when I went to college and went to a campus ministry at the Hilltoppers for Christ, I ended up leading worship there while I spent my time in college with the Hilltoppers for Christ. And then it was funny because we visited my home church. We would go around to these churches that would sponsor our campus ministry. And I led singing there on a Sunday night, and I remember my mom, it was where my parents went to church, and I remember my mom coming up to me after church. She was like, "I didn't even know you sang." So it was so weird. She's like, "I didn't even know you
surprise.
did that." So
that's funny.
I got my start there. Then I came to Greenwood Park obviously when I was in college. I've been here since '98.
Oh, wow.
So I've been here a while, and I've been the full-time worship minister for about the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay, that's awesome.
So yeah, I really enjoy it.
So can you tell me about a favorite worship experience that you have had?
There's a lot. I could talk about. There's several things. There's lots of moments I think that come to mind. I think probably one of the just the most. I don't even know the word I would give it, but I was actually it was in college. Like I said, I've had several, but this is the one that just came to mind. I was in college and we were in Mexico on a mission trip, working with just like a small inner city. It's a city called Frontera, Mexico. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere that people normally go. And we'd finished working at the church all day, and several of our group had come together. And the hotel we were at, they had this open kind of balcony type terrace roof. I don't know, so we went up there and we were just going to hang out that night and just kind of, it was a completely clear sky, this huge moon up in the air, and there was this, I guess it was just like this perfect moment of, I think across town there was like this minor league baseball team, their field was all lit up and the fireworks start going off in the sky. It was crazy. And so we were up there, all this is going on, and we're just sitting around and we just start singing. And so there's probably 20 of us there, and we just we spent, quite a bit of time just worshiping up there. And I mean, it was just kind of away from everything. That was a really cool moment. It's just a really great moment that I remember that stands out. It's just a time where we just worshiped, and that we've kind of were in that place and surrounded by all of those different things, and we were just able to, just God was so present. It was really awesome.
I know the Christian life isn't about feeling God all the time, but when you do, it marks your life.
It does.
And so that happened, I'm not going to say how many years ago.
A few.
But, several years ago, but you remember it so clearly because it changes a person.
It does.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's why we do what we do, right?
It is, exactly.
Well, I'm curious if you notice some trends happening in the world of worship or worship music or theology in worship. I'm always curious because all of us in this SOKY worship community are from different backgrounds and we are listening to different things, and so I would just like your take on that.
It is interesting, and I think things are changing, and not in a bad way, in a good way. Of course, I didn't grow up going to church here. I grew up it was just a different religious background, I guess you would say, a different background than Church of Christ. And so I I guess there's maybe a stigma that people sometimes often think about with Church of Christ. I don't even really know much about all of that. I didn't grow up in it, so I think, and it's probably a good thing, I think, for me, because I don't relate to really any of that. But there was just kind of this standoffish feel, I think, through past years and the way things have gone from this group. But I think, and I really feel like at Greenwood Park and a lot of other churches around that we are just a great part of this worship community with, have really started heading in the direction, and I know I've talked to you about it before with the things that I've had in mind about just the way the community is. It's the name. The name doesn't matter. Does that make sense? It's a trend toward realizing that it's not just me against the world, and and there's nobody else there in my community. And so I think it's really becoming an effort of all different churches just to come together to realize that we all serve a purpose, and that is we are here to do what God has called us to do, and we are here to worship Him. And so I think, with the events of the things that we've got, like the Worship Kentucky and all those things that we're doing, and all these groups are coming together, and just realizing that all of the other stuff, it doesn't matter, because God made us all, and we're here just to serve and serve our community, serve those around us, because that's what He's called us to do, to love, just to reach out, and it's so much better when we can all do that together instead of trying to go it on our own. And
so much better.
I think the trend of worship is in the same direction. I feel like everybody's just kind of coming together, and it's a huge change. I think maybe in different places or different areas where it's not such a drastic change from the way it used to be, that it's not seen as well.
Right.
But I think, especially coming from the churches of Christ, and it's really been a change that's noticeable and for the better.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, people probably get tired of me saying this, but we have more in common. We do. We have more in common than we have differences. And truly, I believe our differences are for a purpose. And because we're called the body for a reason. So, Paul says, everybody's not a hand, everybody's not a foot, everybody's not an ear. And we are different groups who have different purposes and functions, but we're in the same body. We're the same body. And I just love that. I love your answer. That was a good answer.
Thanks. I'm working on that all day. No.
Okay, this one's going to be the hardest one. It's always the hardest for everybody. What's your favorite song right now? Okay, it doesn't have to be for like all eternity.
Right.
We won't hold it against you if you change your mind next week. But right at this moment, what is your favorite song to lead your congregation with?
Yeah, there are a bunch.
Yeah.
And so, I was trying to think about this and narrow it down to just one, because there's so many good songs. But I did, in my mind, I guess what popped in my mind was there's a song. It's called "The Same Power." It's not a real popular, well-known radio song, but it's by Ben Cantillon. Where I heard it is the artist who sang it. But I heard the song probably at least 5 or 6 years ago for the first time. I tend to try to browse through and find some newer music or whatever, but it's like I said, it's called "The Same Power." And so I sat down and tried to, we take the radio version or the music version that you hear, and we do things a cappella here. So try to start working on an arrangement of that. I didn't get very far because I'm not really an arranger so much. I can sing the melody and I can sing the parts, but writing it down on paper is totally different. But thankfully
totally
a good friend of mine that goes to church with us made an arrangement of it, and we sing that here. And it's a great song because it talks about it's all these examples of how we have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, and how the power that Christ had lives in us as the Holy Spirit. And so I could probably just go on and on about different things about the song, but that song, it's just really a great way, I think, of being able to speak and sing and hear the way that God is able to work in us and the power that we have through him. Not that we're doing anything of our own power, but the power that we have because God lives in us as the Holy Spirit, and the way that we are able to reach others with that power, and the way we're able to do so many things that we couldn't do on our own.
Are we going to do that song next week?
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely do that song.
Yay, I'm so glad.
Yeah, I can't not do that song. So.
Oh, good. That's when you know it's your favorite, when
That's
you
right.
can't not do it. Yeah, that was Tremble for me for a while. And right now it's one by Josh Baldwin called Fountains. It's so beautiful.
look that up.
It's so beautiful. I know that I wasn't supposed to tell you my favorite song right now, but that's okay. I just snuck that in there.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and thank you guys for checking out this member spotlight. I hope to see everybody next week right here at our monthly meet and greet. We have all kinds of awesome things coming up this year, opportunities to get together, opportunities to encourage each other. We'll have some conferences coming up that are, some of them are sponsored by the SOKY worship community and some are not. Some are community events. So just stay tuned. It's going to be a great year. 2019 is going to be awesome. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.